Welcome to Scanner School session number 47. Today I have 5 tips. 5 tips for cruising with your scanner. Coming up right now on Scanner School.
Welcome to the Scanner School, a podcast dedicated to the scanner radio hobby. Class is about to begin. Here is your host, Phil Lichtenberger.
So welcome to Scanner School. My name is Phil Lichtenberger. My amateur radio call sign is W2LIE. And this is Scanner School, a podcast where we teach you everything that you need to know about the scanner radio hobby. So I recently got signed up for a cruise. My family booked a Disney cruise. It was a great cruise. And I took the opportunity not only to enjoy some time away from the everyday stuff and get to enjoy some time with my family, but I kind of took it as an opportunity to do something different with the scanning hobby, and that was monitoring something that you can't do unless you take a cruise, and that's monitoring a cruise ship. And let me tell you, you should have seen the look on my wife's face the first night after dinner when everybody was getting ready for bed, and I pull out the laptop and plug in some SDR dongles and start firing up the scanner radio software. I think that if looks could kill, I think I would have been dead on that boat. But before we go into all of my little adventures with scanning on a cruise ship, I want to remind everybody that today's podcast session, like always, is sponsored by East Coast Pagers. Now, again, in full disclosure, East Coast Pagers is one of my online companies, and we are a Unication, Apollo, and Swiss phone dealer, and we serve the United States market. So let me tell you real quick about the current Unication promotions and then also what East Coast Pagers is giving away. So right now, you get $50 off a Unication G1 pager. If you buy 20 or more pagers, it's a great opportunity for your department to upgrade into G1 pagers. You'll get the free extended warranty, or you get the extended warranty for free. Let's put it that way. So normally the G1 pagers come with a 2-year warranty. If you purchase 20 or more, you get the 5-year warranty included with the cost of the pager. If you have P25 in your area and you're looking for either the G4 or the G5 unit, the G5 units are now $100 off, which means it brings their price down to the cost of the G4s. So again, it's a really great opportunity to get into either a G1 or a G5 product and save quite a bit of money. East Coast Pagers does ship each G-Series pager for free. We also supply a free belt clip because, in all honesty, I would hate to have somebody not carrying their pager on them because the belt clip breaks. They are plastic belt clips, and they do happen after a while. They do happen to give way, but it's a very easy repair you can do with a quarter, and belt clips are replaceable. I would prefer to have somebody have that pager on their belt and have then order a spare belt clip once they need it, not after it's too late. But also with the G1 pagers, I also ship a spare set of Tenergy AAA batteries. So all those promotions expire on December 21st, 2018. But East Coast Pagers is giving away a free Unication G1 pager. There's no strings. All you got to do is go to eastcoastpagers.com/contest and fill out the form with the email address. And then from there, you can share your own personal link. You can share it in a Facebook group or a page or in your own community. And anybody who signs up using your link, you will gain bonus points, bonus entries, and you can also enter daily to increase your odds of winning the Unication G1 pager. Now, again, I can only offer this to residents of the United States. I'm sorry for all those that listen to the podcast outside of the area, but that's my limitation on being a Unication dealer. Okay, also, before we go any further, I want to thank our 6 Patreon supporters: Mark Beebe, Kenneth Fowler, MT Bono, James Felling, William Arkand, and Ken Newberry. You guys are great. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. And if anybody else wants to help support Scanner School, I got some easy ways to do so. Patreon being a monthly donation to Scanner School, but we also have a one-time PayPal donation. If you're an Amazon shopper, we also have ways where you can click through our site and then shop on Amazon. It's just really great now that the holiday season is slowly knocking on our doors. It's a great way to help support Scanner School. So scannerschool.com/support. All right, so like I was saying before earlier, I just got back from a cruise just about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, and it was a great time. We went out on the Disney Magic. It left from New York, and it went to some far out of this way world. I went down to Bermuda. I'm saying far out of the way world and kind of snuck around Bermuda because you'll see. I got 5 tips that I want to go through here when it comes to scanning on a cruise ship. 5 little lessons that I learned, or things that would make sense for you guys to know of before going out on a cruise with your scanner. So, like I said, we went out on a Disney cruise. It was a great time. It was the first time we took our 4-year-old daughter out on a cruise. For me, it was my first time cruising in, I'd say, well over a decade. And I know that for a fact because I don't know if I shared with you guys before, but I have celiac disease, which makes it really hard for me to kind of go out and enjoy myself. And the previous cruise I went on, I didn't have to worry about any of that. So I've been gluten-free for about 10 years come next year. And a little side note, too, if anybody wants to see my own personal blog on dealing with life with my gluten-free and celiac and everything else I'm dealing with over there, you can check me out at mrceliac.com. That's MRCEILA, Mr. Celiac, MRCELIAC.com, mrceliac.com. And that's my new personal blog that I'm kind of dusting off, and I'm having some help putting all that together as we need. So anyway, I'll be blogging about my my trip over there. But as far as you guys are concerned, as far as going on with the scanning, let's break it down into 5 tips that you should know before going out on a cruise with the scanner. So tip number 1, do your homework. Know the laws of where you're traveling to and from. The easy way to figure that one out is just go on Google. Do scanner radio, and then in the country. Scanner radio laws, the country, either you're departing from or going to, maybe even the state you're going to. Because here in New York State, we have some funny laws about having a scanner radio in a vehicle with you. And there's people out there that will say it's one thing or the other thing. So my advice to you is to just understand the laws of where you're reporting in and out of. And also while you're traveling, if you have to fly in or fly out of someplace. So besides checking Google, you may also want to check out Radio Reference and just do a search on that as well. Also, you may want to check out the cruise line. The cruise line will tell you what is and is not allowed on board. Typically, they'll tell you what is not allowed. It's a shorter list. So besides, bringing weapons and ammunition and fireworks and, explosive devices and those kinds of things, they may also specify what type of electronics you can bring on board. So the Disney cruise lines will not allow you to bring on a ham radio. They also, I believe, frown upon bringing on an FRS radio for the family radio service. And I mean, they don't like you bring on the FRS because they supply you with what they call a wave phone, which is basically a Wi-Fi phone that you could take around and give to your family members. There's only 2 per room, which is really cool because you can make phone calls to each other. And also they have a great app that you can send text messaging to each other while you're on their Wi-Fi on board, so you don't have to worry about international or roaming charges on your cell phone. So that's pretty cool. But they did not list scanning or scanner radios in their do not bring on board list. So I kind of took that as my green light to go ahead and pack in the old 436 HP. But like I said, just check your laws. One thing I did notice was that you needed a permit in Bermuda to have a scanner radio, which is a free permit. I did not bring my radio off the ship. I only left it in the stateroom, and I left it in my bag when I was not in the room. So tip number 2, know the frequencies before you go, right? The last thing you want to do is be fumbling for what might be happening around you while you're already on the cruise ship or while you're leaving port and like that. So a great way to see what's available for you is just check out the database at Radio Reference. Very easy, www.radioreference.com/apps/db. Just go to Radio Reference website, and the database link is right there on the top. And if you know or don't know, they actually have a international database as well as just on top of the U.S. database. So from there, I was able to really pull down to Bermuda and find out that there was really nothing there. Deeper research led me to discover that there might have been some encryption with the police, and but there's not really a lot of information out there in Bermuda, and I wasn't really too didn't have really too much time while I was in port to play around too much. Though I did find a few trunk systems out there that were DMR, I was unsuccessful finding the fire or police while I was out there. So I guess if I ever go back, I'll definitely be hunting again. Another great website, which I highly, highly recommend, is scanmaritime.com. Now, again, I'll have a link to this in the show notes at scannerschool.com/session47 if you need links. But Bill, N1KUG, does a great job of maintaining a pretty large database of cruise ship frequencies, as well as some national and international VHF and UHF frequencies that might be in use. So what I did was when we kind of had this cruise in the books, what I did was I headed over to his website and I started making a list of not only just the ship I went on with, the Disney Magic, but I also looked at all the other Disney boats that were out there, and I took an inventory of all the frequencies in the Disney fleet, because I kind of had a feeling that, cruising is one thing, but going on a cruise ship, that's a pretty small subset of people who are actually cruising. So I did some homework. I definitely wrote down and pre-programmed my scanner with all the frequencies that were in there that were part of the Disney fleet. So not only the Disney Magic, but also the Disney Wonder. And also I programmed in some of the international frequencies, the VHF frequencies. I made sure that I had the scan list all ready to go, or the search list that came pre-programmed with the radio for the VHF marine frequencies. So because those were going to be used here in the New York City harbor, as well as when you come into port, because of course you have the pilot boats, you have the tugboats that kind of help you navigate the channels and whatnot. So those are always good to have ready to go as well. So again, jump on Radio Reference, jump on to Scan Maritime, and also make sure that you have your frequencies already pre-programmed in the scanner as best as you can. Tip number 3, make sure you know how to use your radios. You don't want to be sitting there, trying to figure this thing out and getting frustrated, right? You probably won't have a lot of time to actually dedicate to scanning. So for me, I only scanned when I was in the stateroom. I didn't feel comfortable enough bringing it out on deck. I didn't want to bring any attention to myself. Why is this guy walking around with a radio, right? I wasn't looking for anything like that, on the cruise ship. So really what I did was, it was really when after dinner, after my daughter went to bed, while we were kind of watching TV as we were unwinding, that's really when I had time to just turn on the scanner. When I wasn't scanning, it was definitely back in my laptop bag and put away, just in case, when housekeeping walks through the room, they don't see this stuff laying around either, because they'll raise some suspicion too. So it's always best, like I said, to put the radio away. But again, make sure you know how to use the scanner. Like I said, you're not going to have a lot of time to be messing around with trying to figure something out. So if you don't have a manual, like I know a lot of these radios, they don't have a printed manual with them. What I like is the easier to read manuals, and you can get that online just by simply Googling easier to read scanner manual. Or, you're not going to have that much luxury on a cruise ship. Wi-Fi is quite expensive. It was $89, just as a side note, it was $89 for a gig of Wi-Fi, and my family blew through that in 2 days on a 5-day cruise. So yeah, we spent $180 just to have Wi-Fi on the boat. So anyway, if you go to, you can get a hard copy of these easier to read manuals, and I strongly suggest having a manual with you, especially one of these easier to read manuals. It just makes life so much easier. So Scanner Master sells them, and we have an affiliate link. So if you buy the easier to read manuals using this link, we'll make a small commission on it, which is another great way to help support the Scanner School podcast. So if you go to scannerschool.com/manuals, this will hot link you over to that page over at Scanner School, where you can purchase a hard printed copy of the easier to read scanner manual. Now again, we'll also link to this in the session notes at scannerschool.com/session47. Also understand how, when you're programming the radio, how to lock things, unlock things, what the temporary lockout does if your scanner supports it, how to turn banks off and on or scanless off and on, how to toggle close call, because you may want to just leave close call running to find out what else might be available on port or while you're on the ship. So know the difference between close call priority, close call do not disturb, close call only, or also when you have close call off. Now, again, for those of you in the Whistler, GRE, or Radio Shack world, I believe that's also called the signal stalker method on the scanner. So again, know your scanner, know how it works, and also as a bonus tip for bonus tip 3, make sure you have your antenna with you. Make sure you have your batteries are charged, or take a charger with you, or bring spare batteries. For those of you using the HP product, if you have faith in your SD card, great. I had faith in mine, but maybe you want to bring a secondary micro SD card this way in case something gets corrupt or it doesn't go through the X-ray machine fine, which I don't think that would be an issue, but you never know. Tip number 4, pack right. Like I said, I kept my scanner in with my laptop. My laptop bag was my carry-on bag. And in my laptop bag, I had not only my laptop, but my scanner radio. I had my chargers. I had cables. I had some basic photography gear, such as those Gorilla Pods. I had a gimbal to do some Steadicam work in there as well. My iPhone charger, all the chargers for basically all our devices, my Fitbit and all that stuff too. So there was enough cables and wires in my bag where I think I was able to successfully get through security and not worry about them looking through my bag. Again, the antenna wasn't on my radio, so even if they did notice it, I don't think they would have put the pieces together, to be honest with you. Worst case scenario, though, they would have checked the radio, and I could have claimed it when I was back from the cruise. The other thing I brought, too, besides my scanner, was I brought 2 SDR dongles, which I was planning on saying that they were USB sticks if anybody had a question, because technically they are USB sticks. I wasn't going to say they were USB memory sticks, but it did not come to that. But again, I also did have 2 SDR dongles with me as well, just to play around with. So again, this was all in my carry-on. This was not in my check luggage. This also wasn't in my check bags when I left the boat. I kept the scanner on me in my carry-on or in the carry-on bag at all times. All right, guys. Tip number 5, which is my final tip, is expect the unexpected. What do I mean by expect the unexpected? Well, on my boat, things weren't exactly as they were on the Scan Maritime website. The Scan Maritime website really said that there was either FM narrow or DMR in use on the boat. The other boats, the Disney Wonder, actually had a DMR system mapped out with three logical channels and also 2 talk groups. Well, when I got on board, I found that the same DMR system that was on the Wonder was also on the Magic. But the surprise was it was encrypted. Yes, there were 3 talk groups, and only 3 talk groups I found in use, and all 3 talk groups were frustratingly encrypted. So there was nothing exciting to listen to on the boat. Womp womp. So that was that. Now, to add insult to injury, for those groups that weren't on the trunk system, they had what they call these wave phones. I think we just talked about that earlier. And those were basically Wi-Fi phones that the housekeeping staff and maintenance and those kinds of departments, they all just called each other directly. There was no talk group. There was nothing I could find that was in the clear, or these guys were just on their Wi-Fi thing. So very frustrating on that as well. And then the only group I saw carrying around a radio other than the lifeguards who had DMR radios on them and the maintenance staff and the housekeeping was the food services, and food services had FRS radios on them. So, and it really wasn't something I was excited to listen to, and I was always on the opposite side of the ship. My room wasn't in the back of the boat where the buffet stuff was. So again, I really didn't care to listen to 2. They needed more orange juice in the in the machines. So, like I said, expect the unexpected. All right, so again, what was it that I brought on the cruise? Well, with me, I brought my laptop. I brought 2 new SDR dongles, which I had pretty much just purchased for the sake of testing on the cruise ship. I had some other SDR dongles with me, and I bought these. I used the cruise as an excuse to buy them, to be honest with you. I had SDR Sharp running on my laptop, and also I had DSD Plus. I also purchased the optional VB audio cable that you can use for DSD Plus. Now, again, we were going to talk about the new elect dongles. We'll talk about SDR Sharp and DSD Plus on an upcoming episode. I do have those queued up on the calendar. So if I'm losing you now, don't worry about it. We are going to talk about all this cool stuff coming out next year on the podcast. We'll talk about that right after the new year. But, there's also some really great cheap devices you can get. Like I said, I also had my Uniden BCD 436HP with my favorite Diamond SRH 519 antenna, a set of batteries, and, of course, a pen and paper to jot down some notes. But in the end, it was just coming down to using the 436 to monitor the maritime traffic, and I just used DSD Plus just to hope and pray that maybe there was something unencrypted on the trunk system, and there wasn't. So that's that. But going back to what I was able to listen to, it was really cool leaving New York Harbor. We left around 5 o'clock at night, just in time to see the sun go down behind the Statue of Liberty. And it was really cool to go out that way. We had dinner right after we got out of that area, so we head right to the room, and that's when I started playing around with the scanner. Coming into port a day later in Bermuda was pretty interesting, listening to them guide in the boat and let them know how many meters were left. I assume it was meters between where they had to dock the boat and the pier. And listening to the pilot come on and the boats and have them talk about how they couldn't get the lines out because they were tangled and they had a problem with the winch. So a little bit of behind the scenes. All that was done on VHF maritime frequencies. Also coming back into New York Harbor, we came back in at about 4 a.m. Around 4:30 or so, we crossed the Verrazano Bridge and passed the Statue of Liberty. And the whole time up, there was plenty of traffic from the Disney Magic calling themselves in, because New York Harbor is pretty busy, and a boat that big isn't going to stop. So there was some traffic as the Disney Magic made its way up the New York Harbor, and as it was guided into its final docking position for our trip. But all in all, it was a great trip. My family loved it. It was okay for scanning. It was definitely something different, something that I didn't do my first cruise, something that I'm glad I did this time around, and something I'll be more prepared on for the next cruise I go on. So really, I hope that these 5 tips will help you enjoy your next cruise if you're finding yourself out on one. If you are vacationing with your scanner, I'd love to know exactly what it is that you do to prepare for scanning. So let me know. Drop me a line, and we'll talk about it. A great way to do so is on our Facebook group. We have a great community right now on Facebook, and it can't be beat. So if you go to scannerschool.com/Facebook group, join the conversation, and let us know how you vacation with your scanner radio. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Like I said, the links that we talked about before are located in the session notes at scannerschool.com/session47. Don't forget, if you're interested in a Unication G1 pager, you can get one for free, but only if you win one. So go to eastcoastpagers.com/contest for your chance to win a Unication G1 pagers. All right, guys. Next week, we are getting pretty close to Black Friday, so we're going to start talking about some gift guides. So stay tuned for the next 2 weeks. We'll go through some scanner radio gift suggestions, and if you have any suggestions for the scanner radio user in your family or yourself, we'll talk about them. Let me know what you want for Christmas this year. Sounds so cheesy. All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys next Tuesday. My name is Phil Lichtenberger. My amateur radio call sign is W2LIE, and this is Scanner School, where we teach you everything you need to know about the scanner radio hobby. See you all next Tuesday, everyone. 73.
Thanks for listening to the Scanner School podcast. Be sure to visit www.scannerschool.com to access the show notes and bonus content.